Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. So I'm going to try and go backwards and then try and go present words. And it might get a bit confusing, but just bear with me. You might have noticed the last couple of weeks, the idea of patterns or reoccurrences is constantly coming back up in the news. This is for a number of reasons. One, the cryptocurrency Bitcoin market has not been around for that long, so people tend to look for patterns that there might have been. This is why you hear a lot of times during the last halving, during the last bull run, during the last bull market, during the last bear market, we try to look for patterns to see where prices are going to go. How many times did this X? How many times did this go up the last couple of times? Kind of this way. So a lot of people are now trying to figure out where Bitcoin's going. I know the general idea should be up, but it's like also how up. And that's because, as I've mentioned before in a number of other videos, we are really in uncharted, unprecedented territory right now, simply because, or mainly because, of the ETF accumulation, the news and rumors that we've been getting of other countries who are also going to start accepting Bitcoin as a form of legal tender. And, you name it, anything that we've been talking about, throw it into that bucket. The situation happens to be, as I've mentioned before, historically, prices don't really move up by a lot until we get near, are at, and or after the halving. That is to say, we normally see around this time, a couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks or so, sometimes 5 weeks, before the halving, prices tend to move up. It's a really weird FOMO anticipation kind of thing where everyone's like, oh snaps, the last 2 years I could have been buying when the price was lower. Let me buy now because I'm anticipating people to go completely insane when the other people figure out that Bitcoin's reward is getting cut in half. And it somehow always ends up working. So as we move closer to the halving, the price has always gone up. And then when we get to the halving, there's always that really weird like slight dip because people are thinking they're being smart by selling the news, what have you. And then we rip and roar a lot higher. The situation this time is that we're already ripping and roaring, and we haven't even gotten to the actual halving, which is something that we've also spoken about before. I'm trying to give you everything so that you really understand the words that I'm going to say, because it's going to be a bit shocking, and it's also going to be like, what? So when you look back at the past trends of where we've moved, where we've been, and how much higher we tend to go as we actually get to and after the halving, this is where a lot of times you're hearing these people who are saying, remember a couple of months ago or even maybe the end of last year, we heard quite often, as I reiterated once again, that by the end of 2024, a lot of people were expecting a maximum $50,000 Bitcoin. Right. There were a lot of people who were saying that by the end of 2024, we might maybe hit $70,000, and then the maximum would be 100 to 150,000 over the course of 2025. Right. You must remember, because I was like, no, I'm pretty sure we're going to be going a lot higher. It's either a mixture of people who are skeptics and or people who are like, no, Bitcoin definitely can't do anything that it previously did before. There's a guy in the cryptocurrency space. He's very popular. His name is Pompliano. He was recently on CNBC, and he said something that I think shocked a lot of people, especially with his time frame, because it's not that far off. So when on CNBC, you always have people, they're asked to give price predictions. Where do you think Bitcoin's going? How much higher are we going to go? What's the next step? The issue is that we still have not passed by the halving. When he was on CNBC, they were asking him, what's the next step for Bitcoin and exactly how much higher is it going to go? So he said that every time we've now I'm trying to, because it's going to sound insane. He said that every single time that we've gotten near or just around the halving, cool, and or Bitcoin has passed by its previous all-time high. So remember, a couple days ago, we saw Bitcoin passed by 69,000. It went to 69,210. It's since gone higher than that. Got it. But he says historically, the last 3 out of 4 times that Bitcoin has passed by its previous all-time high, he said 18 days later, Bitcoin's price has doubled. So on CNBC, he was talking to these people, and obviously they were shocked. He said, drawing his historic patterns and parallels to what we've seen before in the past, he said that Bitcoin might actually, in the next 18 days, double. The issue with that is that would put us, according to his numbers, that would give us a $138,000 Bitcoin. So the issue is that we've done this before in the past. The issue is that BlackRock and Fidelity are accumulating hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin. For those of you who've missed the last couple of videos, remember the little price dip that we had about a week ago or so at this point? We found out that during that dip, BlackRock alone purchased, I think it was 14,300 Bitcoin just on that dip. And then we saw swiftly that prices began to recover once again. The price predictions are kind of getting a little bit intense. And I think that's because, according to him as well, he says that we're currently in price discovery mode. We're trying to figure out exactly where the top is, exactly where we can move to. But the problem is we haven't gotten to the halving. All of this tends to take place months after we have actually had the halving. And when we haven't had the halving, no one really knows exactly what's going on, because it's very easy to say, cool, we'll go up by 10 to 15% for 4 weeks. As we get closer to the halving happens. And then we have about a good 5 or 6 months until we actually re-hit the previous all-time high. We enter 2025 or 2021 or 2017, and then we see the prices going up from there. Cool, works like clockwork. But we've never had institutions who are buying up more than $500 million per day worth of Bitcoin. As we move closer to the actual halving, I know you're getting tired of me saying that word, as tired as I am of saying it. As we move closer to the halving, historically, Bitcoin's price has always moved up. Always. There's always this anticipation of, oh my gosh, there's going to literally be less Bitcoin created every single day. And this is why we currently have the $100,000 price predictions by the halving. And I think if that actually ends up coming true, my number has always been 100K by the end of the year. It seems logical. If we go to 100K by April, this means we're probably going to a $150, $170, $180, $200,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year. And then that still hasn't even gotten us into 2025, which is when we typically see the really crazy price numbers. So I guess it's something to look out for. As there's the word's not volatility, but you can feel the energy in the air within the market now. It's it's returned. We had a couple of years of this very okay, well, those are the prices. And you can feel that everyone's kind of back. Everyone's buying. And I think everyone's trying to outpace the ETF issuers as well, because they're buying up all of the Bitcoin. Not to forget that MicroStrategy is also buying another, the actual number is $600 million worth of Bitcoin. Yeah, crazy times, right? So if we end up, come on. If we end up doubling in price in the next 18 days, that means altcoins are also going to completely lose their minds as well, which, I do hope you've all enjoyed this Anthony Pompliano is saying in 18 days, Bitcoin might go to $138,000 news. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.